Do you know exactly and accurately how much money your advertising is generating? If your answer isn't yes, this guide is for you. Depending on your type of company, an app, e-commerce, SaaS, B2B, you name it, and the type of acquisition channels, so paid, organic, earned, etc., it can be one of the simplest or most complex areas of your marketing. In this video, I'm going to walk through each stage of advertising attribution so you can determine which solution is the best fit for you. So first and foremost, what is advertising attribution and why is it so hard? Advertising attribution is how to attribute sales to your advertising dollars. In other words, proving your ads are driving a positive return on an investment. The reason advertising attribution is so hard is because user-level tracking, the traditional way of attributing clicks on ads to sales, is becoming outlawed. In 2018, GDPR made European companies do the whole cookie consent thing. And if you don't consent, you don't get tracked. In 2022, Apple decided to get involved in protecting user privacy with this pop-up. It's currently estimated that 66% of people opt out of tracking, according to the App Attribution Analytics Company branch. All during this time, privacy-first companies are also popping up, like Brave Browser, which allows users to block all tracking and all ads. It doesn't stop there, though. It also hurts your ability to do good and targeted ads. The ad platforms where you spend your ad dollars rely on machine learning algorithms to deliver your ads to your target customers. But if your customer clicked on your ad but wasn't tracked and then went on to purchase, the ad platforms never know that it happened. So what's a marketer to do? So the first step is to know your ad spend to revenue ratio. Let's start with the basics. How much are you spending on advertising? And what is the revenue you are receiving? This is your ad spend to revenue ratio. You can track this with free tools like Google Analytics and Google Sheets. You need to know this number in order to understand your ad spend to revenue ratio. It should be a daily, weekly, and a monthly number that you actually check. So let me tell you a story. I had a client that had a 25% ad spend to revenue ratio. This means that ad spend was 25% of whatever their revenue was. When Apple allowed users not to be tracked, their metadata dropped from a 2.0 ROAS to a 1.0 ROAS. We were skeptical, so we kept ad spend the same. And their revenue? It stayed the same too. Why? Because 95% of their customers buy ads through Meta on an iPhone. It was blocked tracking. Had they just relied on the ad platform data, they would have mistakenly believed Meta ads had stopped working. They didn't, only its tracking did. This was a tracking problem. However, this didn't fix the fact that the ad platform wasn't actually able to track this. Okay, so let's jump into step 2. Step 2 is server-side tracking to feed the ad platforms better data. So in the last example, even if the company knows the accurate sales from the ads, the ad platforms don't. So how do you fix this? Your company has to give the ad platform your customers' data since the ad platform can no longer collect it. And this is where server-side tracking comes in. Server-side tracking acts similar to pixel tracking. It sends information from the advertising platform to the server, indicating when someone converts on an ad. The main difference between pixel-based tracking and server-side tracking is that server-side tracking bypasses the browser. This circumvents ad blockers, which allows for improved conversion tracking and data accuracy. Now, you will need to hire a developer or use a paid solution to set this up. For paid solutions, there are many. We have a whole list on the blog post that goes along with this video that you can check out if you're interested in one of those solutions. If you did want to do this yourself and not have a paid solution or not have a developer, it is possible. And we have instructions for how to set up server-side tracking with Google Tag Manager. It is a little bit complex, so look at the instructions before moving forward. So that's also in the blog post and the show notes for this video. But in a nutshell, you need to be doing server-side tracking. All right, so step 3, understanding which attribution software is right for your business. Unless all of your sales are isolated and coming from one ad channel, chances are you're going to need attribution software or to build your own solution. For pre-existing software, there are many advertising attribution companies. I have used or demoed a lot of them. So I created an Airtable of reviews, and that's also in the show notes below. Each software is positioned for different company types, your level of ad spend, etc. So it's really about finding the solution that fits your unique situation. As you go through demos, ask yourself the following questions. First, how is pricing configured? Example, monthly, annually, etc. I highly advise against annual when buying an advertising attribution solution, given the constant changes in our privacy landscape. So what is the onboarding time? Time commitments can vary by advertising attribution solution. A short commitment is beneficial to get you through onboarding and training, but anything longer than 2 to 3 months should be considered a risky investment. How many users are allowed? In some cases, attribution systems may have upcharges for additional users. Check on this if you're planning to have multiple team members use the attribution tool. Okay, so how is customer service handled? Setup of an attribution system can require troubleshooting at times, so read reviews on this. And what is the attribution modeling of the software? Can multiple attribution models be used or interchanged? Part of the data analysis process should be looking at different attribution models. Ask about default modeling and if you're able to change or compare different models within the attribution system. So is the attribution solution web or server-based? Web-based solutions may still be subject to ad blockers. This is so outdated, so just run. How is the attribution solution implemented? Client versus provider. If you're required to implement the solution, do you have someone on your team who can oversee that implementation process? Next, is there personal identifiable information within the software? It's important to consider the trust you've built with your audience. If personal identifiable information is within the system, you'll want to accurately reflect this within your own privacy policy. So I know that this is a lot of information and a lot of questions, but download the Airtable to see which solution matches your unique situation and get the demos started and do all of the demos you can before actually making a decision. Last but not least, step 4, building your own in-house attribution solution. This can be as simple as creating your own cookie and an SQL report, or as complex as hiring an engineering team. For example, an old B2B client of mine created their own first-party cookie in Google Tag Manager that tracks first touch and last touch in an SQL database. However, for larger amounts of advertising spend, differing sales cycles, and depending on the complexity of your tech stack, you may very well need to hire a data scientist or a data analyst to help in the process. The COO of Blotout, an advertising analytics company, estimates an effective in-house attribution tool could range anywhere from $100,000 to 7 figures or more. This is primarily due to salaries required for the members of your team that you would need to build and maintain them. All that said, it really depends on your company's unique situation. We have done all sorts of workarounds that avoided ongoing attribution software costs or salary costs, but it was because the situation allowed for it. Ultimately, as a VP of marketing, a CMO, or a founder, it will be your job to create an advertising attribution solution. If you still feel that you need some help with this or some advisory on next steps, contact me through Ascennial.com.